Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am the OmniViewer, and this is a clarification of my past videos regarding the upcoming Godzilla anime. I've actually wanted to do a clarification for a little bit because with those videos has once again come the debate about Godzilla's screen time. Once again, we've got two sides to the argument. The side that points out that sometimes Godzilla is barely in the movies anyway, and the side that says the more Godzilla the better. Now, I wanted to clear it up because, well, you'll see, just stick around for a little bit. Some of you may recognize this bar graph that showed up not long after Godzilla 2014 was released. It charts how much screen time Godzilla gets in each movie. The Showa series is represented by the blue bars, the Heisei series is represented by the orange bars, the Millennium series is represented by the purple bars, and the 2014 film is represented by the solitary red bar. And obviously, Shin Godzilla isn't on this list because it hadn't been made yet. As you can see, the most screen time Godzilla has ever gotten in a film is in the Heisei series Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2, with a whopping 26 minutes and 56 seconds. Meanwhile, the lowest amount of screen time goes to Invasion of Astro Monster / Godzilla vs. Monster Zero, with 5 minutes and 48 seconds. Godzilla 2014 certainly is on the lower end of this chart, but you'll actually notice it has more Godzilla in it than the original 1954 Godzilla movie. Now, of course, it's possible to use this graph as a way to shoot down any argument that the 2014 film didn't have enough Godzilla. I mean, how can you say it didn't have enough Godzilla when it had more Godzilla than the original movie, which everyone agrees is the best one, right? However, it also has less Godzilla in it than Godzilla Final Wars, which is located right here on the graph. Why am I bringing that up? Well, you'll see in a little bit, just keep that in mind. There's more Godzilla in Final Wars than there is in Godzilla 2014. It will be important later. Now, in regards to my concerns for the upcoming 2017 Godzilla anime, I have said that it strikes me as disconcertingly odd, let's say, that so far we've gotten 2 images teasing this movie, and not a single one of them has even hinted at Godzilla. Shown out of context, you might not even know this was from a Godzilla film at all. And as I said, this has reignited the screen time debate to a certain degree. But here's the clarification I want to make. Screen time is not always the same thing as focus. They can go together, and oftentimes they do. But not always. Sometimes the thing which is the focus of a story is barely in it. Back when I did my review of the 2014 Godzilla, I actually compared it to William Shakespeare's play Julius Caesar. The first time people see that play, I bet they're probably surprised that Julius Caesar, the title character, is barely in it. He shows up for a couple scenes at the beginning, gets assassinated, and then the rest of the play just goes on without him there. The last time he shows up is a walk-on part as a ghost towards the end, so his last physical appearance isn't even really a physical appearance. So why is the play called Julius Caesar if Julius Caesar is barely in it? Because he is still the focus. Everything that happens in the play, everything the characters do, every event, no matter what, no matter how unconnected it may seem, somehow it always circles back to Caesar. Whether it's his reign or his assassination. So even though Brutus is the main character, Caesar is the focus of that play. And hence, that's why the play is named after him. Or another example, The Maltese Falcon. One of Humphrey Bogart's greatest movies, an iconic piece of film noir. However, the actual Maltese Falcon, the little bird statue that everyone is after, hardly in the film. We don't even really get an explanation of what it is until halfway through. But, again, everything that happens in the film is connected to this bird. So I think that's a good demonstration of how focus and screen time aren't always synonymous with each other. So how does that relate to Godzilla? Well, in most Godzilla movies, Godzilla remains the focus. Every decision made and every action taken by the human characters is informed by the fact that there are giant monsters which will react to what they do. So, yet again, even when the monsters aren't on screen for very much of the film, they are still in focus. This is actually why, even though I was right about the 2014 movie being a human-centric film, I mean, look at the chart, you can't argue with the numbers, I've actually come to be one of the movie's outspoken advocates. Because, again, Godzilla's shadow looms over everything. Even if he's not in it all that much, he is still very much in focus. Compare that to Godzilla Final Wars. I told you we'd come back to it. Now, yes, according to the chart, Godzilla has more screen time in this than he does in the 2014 movie. And it's the 50th anniversary film too, so you would expect him to be the focus, right? But he's not. It seems pretty apparent to me that the director was more interested in making his own version of The Matrix combined with the X-Men, because those two movie franchises have aged so incredibly well, haven't they? As a result, the movie rushes through the kaiju portions like it can't get through them fast enough, just so we can have more set pieces focused on the human characters. In this case, the monsters really are in the background. It doesn't matter how much screen time they actually get, they are not the focus. And that's a big problem for me because this was the 50th anniversary film for Godzilla, and if there was ever a time when he should have been the focus, it was this movie. That's where my concern is coming from with the upcoming anime movie. What I want is for the movie to focus on him. And based on the images we've gotten so far, I'm having a hard time convincing myself that'll happen. Now, to be clear, I'd love to be wrong. I'd love for all of my concerns to be unfounded one way or the other. Nothing would make me happier than to come to you guys and say, hey, Godzilla was barely in this movie, but his shadow was looming over everything, so it really felt like he was always there. Or, boy did they fool me, Godzilla was in the movie from start to finish, I'm amazed they even fit time for character dialogue in there. Or something in between, I don't know. I don't want to be right about my concerns, but the thing is, I have been right before. I was right about Godzilla 2014 being a human-centric movie. I was right about 10 Cloverfield Lane not being a Cloverfield sequel. I didn't make a video on it, but I was also right about Guardians of the Galaxy not being the huge failure everyone was almost willing it to be. So if I'm right this time, well, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, I guess. I hope that clears things up for everyone. So what do you think? Do you agree with my definition of focus versus screen time? Do you see any evidence that perhaps the focus will be on Godzilla in either of these images? Do you think I'm just blowing smoke? Well, share whatever thoughts you might have in the comments section. Until such time as we meet again, this is the OmniViewer, signing off.